Hello and welcome to HBM's Cryptid-Corner for Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. We have a few things to talk about, so let's get started. First of all, I want to highly recommend, Lyle Blackburn's brand new book, Texas Bigfoot. Really good stuff in there. Really terrific book, I think. He breaks it up into sections and talks about the different types of Sasquatch creatures in Texas, in the Lone Star State. It's really good. I enjoyed it. Oh, by the way, yesterday was Bob Gimlin's birthday, so happy belated, Bob. And tomorrow is the 55th anniversary of the Patterson-Gimlin film. So a couple of notable dates to talk about there. Our first story is about the Loch Ness Monster, a Loch Ness investigation and Loch Ness exploration. I was back up at the loch last month with various intentions on my mind. The first and perhaps most important task was trap cameras. As readers may recall, these automated monster hunters gaze over the loch waters, strapped to trees, waiting for something of noteworthy dimensions to pass in front of them. They operate on a 24-hour basis as they switch to infrared mode as night descends. Now, admittedly, having reviewed the nighttime shots from past excursions, the quality of them is not that great, as the only objects visible tend to be any flapping branches right beside the camera or rain, as shown below. Unless the creature came right up to sniff one of these cameras, one wonders if it would register at all at night. However, the sequence of lunar pictures below would give us a sensational monster pose if it decided to serve us under the moonshine. Actually, we have a claimed sighting of the monster in such circumstances you can read here. Well, for the time being, I'll leave the timer on 24-hour duty. Here are some of the shots, as you can see. Beautiful moonlight shots. The daytime shots have the usual selection of boats, paddleboarders, kayakers, and the odd bird, which at least shows these cameras are doing their job. I had left one camera ticking away over the summer period as the risk from hordes of tourists finding a camera and deciding it was theirs is too great. But it was still there when I came back for it. I am still going through the many images of waves. It was noticeably warmer than when I was there for the same time period last year. The foliage is more extensive and the flies were annoyingly greater in number. Definitely keep the trousers and long sleeves on when walking through that stuff, lest the tickle lights on you. After that, I drove over to meet up with Adrian Shine at the Loch Ness Exhibition Center. I had asked him if I could view some of the old Loch Ness Investigation Bureau films from the 1960s that had been scanned and digitized. To reprise, the LNIB had set up various camera stations around the loch from 1962 onwards, armed with telephoto lenses and 35mm film. The hope was obviously that the creature would stray into the view of one of these rigs and convincing evidence would be obtained. As we know, no game-changing film was recorded. The best known was the 1967 sequence taken by Dick Rayner, but the rest have never been seen. Back in 1976, Roy Mackal reviewed some of these films for his book, The Monsters of Loch Ness. He mentions 10 films and labeled them as films F8 through F11, F13, F16 through F18, and F21 through F22, taken between 1962 and 1969. Unlike the Rayner film, none of these were classed as positive evidence, but rather as inconclusive, birds or waves. With all that in mind, we pulled up some chairs at the Drachet Hotel, and Adrian ran the videos in his laptop. The sequence of films ran for some 10 minutes, with some being repeated or zoomed in. This was interspersed with the odd footage of LNIB people. I'm not sure how many of the 10 were shown, perhaps no more than 5. One of them was certainly the Rainer film, but it was impossible to line up what films we saw against the Mackel list above. It seems the film canisters were not labeled with necessary information. Indeed, trying to identify the locations by markers on the far shores would have helped somewhat, but this proved difficult as well, especially with the passage of up to 60 years. The quality of the films varied, but were all generally poor, and what was in the water looked like either water disturbances or waterfowl. Quite frankly, they didn't look much better than other inconclusive videos seen over the years and decades. One film I'm sometimes asked about is film F-10, taken on June 6, 1963, and claimed as the only film of Nessie on land. The observers reported that a dark cylindrical object took to shore on the beach and lay in the shallows at a distance of about 2.25 miles. The long neck and head were observed for about a half an hour. I'm fairly certain that film was not on the video run I saw, and so I cannot speak to that or the others I did not see. Obviously, one has to point out the stupendous distance well above what is normally stated in eyewitness reports, and one would see next to nothing at that range with the naked eye. Using binoculars of 8-time magnification would bring the object to an apparent distance of about 450 meters. The specification of the camera telephoto lens described by Mackel suggests a 9-time magnification or an apparent distance of 400 meters with attenuation of details. Having said that, Garrick and a panel of experts examined the film, but the great distance precluded all but acknowledging that the form of the object generally agreed with the observer testimony. I would imagine this is the film one would want to see above all the others, but it would be brave or foolish to state without reservation that it was the Loch Ness Monster being filmed. Some other matters were discussed, such as the Dinsdale film and the interesting sonar contact of September 2020, which will form an article in its own right. A final matter was discussed which shall be expanded on in another future article. Having taken my leave of Adrian, the second part of the article titled becomes relevant as I met up with Ellen McKenna from Edinburgh, who heads up the Loch Ness Exploration LNE group. In the spirit of the old Loch Ness investigation, Ellen's new venture invites people to join him at Loch Ness for various surface watches, as well as any other observational techniques that modern technology offers. You can find the Loch Ness Monster Exploration Group on Facebook at this link. We were going to head off to the next L&E observation spot beyond Temple Pier, having mentioned my meeting with Adrian. Alan said he would love to meet him, and lo and behold, Adrian appeared in the distance, and the rest is history. We spent a good hour or so discussing various aspects of the monster story, including the matter of sonar and the trials of surface observations. A couple of guys from New Zealand joined in who said they were also cryptozoologists, investigating such matters down under. Having concluded the conversations, I was right out of time and had to pick up my family in Inverness, who hitched a ride for a day trip up north. I took them for some sightseeing around the loch before heading back south. Did I see Nessie that day? No. Nothing broke the surface, but all in all, it was a good day among the people of the great Loch Ness mystery. So, is Nessie still alive? That's a good question. Finally, Bigfoot is not real. Signs in Pennsylvania parks, trails asking residents to report sightings weren't posted by officials. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you call the supersized ape-like creature said to roam the woods of North America, it doesn't exist, Pennsylvania game officials say. For months, signs have been popping up along state trails and parks, urging residents to report Bigfoot sightings. Due to encounters in the area of a creature resembling Bigfoot, we are instructing all park visitors to observe elevated park etiquette, be cautious of your surroundings, and to keep the location of any small children/pets within a tighter scope of awareness, the sign says. Do not approach the creature. And this is the supposedly official sign. Supposedly an official sign. Although printed on the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources letterhead, it's not legitimate, state officials said. These signs were not posted by DCNR, said Department spokesperson Leslie Robinson in an email Monday morning. We have seen them at parks for months, and they are removed when they are reported or found by staff because they have not been authorized. Officials have seen the signs at many parks, he said, adding he is unsure of how many or where the signs may have been posted. Bigfoot is not real. Are you so sure about that? He added. Are you so sure about that, Mr. Robinson? More generally associated with the northwest portion of the country, stories exist of larger-than-life creatures stalking through the woods of Pennsylvania, too. Squatcher Metrics, an organization that maps the sightings, shows the majority in the western part of the state. Another map available online, of which the source is unclear, shows some in the Lehigh Valley, too. Yeah, the thing is, you'd have to have your own encounter in order to say whether or not, yes, there is a Sasquatch. I mean, this guy, he seems to be pretty sure there's no Sasquatch. Obviously, that's the supposed official position taken by the DCNR of Pennsylvania. So, but do they know everything? Of course they don't. So, it's interesting anyway. And that's going to do it for this week. I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. So I'll continue to do this as long as you guys want me to. And hey, until next week, y'all be good or be good at. This is HBM's Crypto Corner.